Good morning, guys. Are you excited to be here at the Students for Life of America National Conference? And you know, this is a very special conference this year because we were snowed out in Washington, D.C. We were forced to cancel our East Coast conference because of Snowzilla. So you literally are it. You are the national conference. We are so excited to have each and every one of you here today. And we have a great, great program lined up for you. And I hope you walk away today, you get on your planes, get on your buses, get in your cars, and you go home ready to abolish abortion. Now, I want to start out today talking about our conference theme, Born to Win. Born to Win. And I want to start by going a little old school, talking about a story that most of us know, David versus Goliath. Now, this is a story we all know, even if we weren't raised as Christians or didn't go to church, we kind of all know this story, right? It's like this epic struggle between this big giant and this little underdog. And I don't know if you know too much about the story, but so basically there's this giant for the Philistine army. He challenges anyone in the Israelite army to face him. No one wants to do it because he's a giant. He's 7 foot tall. He's head to toe in very expensive modern armor of the day. He's scary. He's got like 3 weapons. No one wants to do it. But David, the shepherd boy, is sent to the front line. And he's told by his dad to check up on his brothers. And while he's there, he hears Goliath taunting the army. And he says, why isn't anyone standing up to them? Why are we allowing this to happen? So David decides, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and I will face the Goliath. Now everyone kind of thinks he's crazy a little bit. King Saul tries to outfit him in armor to match the Goliath. And he says, I can't do that. I can't walk in that. I have never trained in that. Now, most people think what happened between David versus Goliath was kind of like this miracle. It was a 1,000,000 to 1 shot. There was no chance that he would ever be victorious. But it's kind of fascinating when you think about it. And you start reading the scripture, and the scripture it talks about how Goliath was actually led down into the valley. And the question becomes, what was wrong with Goliath's eyesight? He had to be led down into a valley. He couldn't see that there was a valley there. Many scholars believe he probably suffered from the same disease as many giants have suffered from who've walked our earth, where they have problems with their pituitary gland, they can't see. So, we're like, okay, now he's big, but he doesn't have real good eyesight. The other thing we know about Goliath, and it's kind of bulky. He's weighed down by this armor, by all these fancy weapons he has. So now he's a little slow. So now you have David, this courageous young kid who's fast, can see real good, and has a determination to win. Really, if you were a betting person, you should have been betting on David going into that battle. Because the moment David decided to face off, that perceived underdog was the person who was going to be victorious. And I think sometimes in the pro-life movement, we consider ourselves this underdog, right? There's $1 billion Planned Parenthood who we pay with $500,000 of our tax dollars that we have to fight against. They're there lobbying and paying off our politicians in Washington, D.C. We have this culture of death that's in our schools and our campus health centers. We have all this misinformation out there. We're like these Davids. But what I want you to take away today is that while we may be the perceived underdog, they should be very worried and very scared. Because if history has told us one thing, it's that it's always repeated. Now, how are we going to win? How can we win? There was a kind of famous businessman. He was raised in Texas. He died a couple years ago. I watched some videos. He's got this old, cute guy, this real deep southern drawl. His name is Zig Ziglar. He got famous in business, and he started going across the country talking to people, motivating people to win. And he had this quote. He said, "You were born to win, but to be a winner, to be what you were born to be, you must plan to win, you must prepare to win, and then and only then you can legitimately expect to win." There's a difference between winners and losers, and it's not the scoreboard. It's that winners went into the battle believing they could win, they had a plan to win, and they prepared to win. Men and women, those are the three things that we must do in the pro-life movement. You know, often I go and I talk to adult audiences, and they ask me to come speak because I'm the cute person who's like 30 years younger than everybody else in the room, and they want me to give them an update from the front lines of the abortion wars. And usually I'm sitting there and they're eating like this, rubber chicken dinner, and they're going to give their $50 to the Right to Life or Pregnancy Center. And they're there because they're pro-life, they're there because they're Catholic, but they're actually not there because they think we can win this battle. How sad is that? Men and women, why would you fight in something you thought you were going to lose? If you were on a football team, and moments before you ran to the field, your coach told you, "Great job and trying your best this week, but you're going to get your butts kicked," what would happen? You would go into that field believing that the person who's prepared you for battle doesn't believe that you'll be victorious, so you're not going to believe in yourself, and you're going to think, "I'm going to get my butt kicked." So during the game, you're going to let passes go by. You're going to minimize your risk. So you're not going to be like, "I'm not going to blow out my knee for this play. I'm going to lose anyway." You're not going to go into battle believing you're going to win. You're going to win. And that's what we have to do in the pro-life movement. If we are actually going to win, if we are actually going to abolish abortion, we have to believe in our heart of hearts that it's actually possible. If we all knew that next Friday abortion was going to be ended in our country, that Roe v. Wade was going to be overturned, do you think you would act a little differently this week? Yep. Instead of going home tomorrow, sleeping, going to class, going, "I'm exhausted from the week of the Walk for Life and the conference," you would be out there on the streets. You'd be praying in front of the abortion facilities. You would be scrambling as fast as you could to make sure your campus had all the resources it needed to help women in crisis. Because you would have a sense of urgency of, "Oh my goodness, abortion's going to be over on Friday. What are we going to do with all these women who need help?" But because we don't know that end, because we don't see in our mind's eye, we don't work towards it. Men and women, when you wake up on Monday morning, you need to believe abortion will be over on Saturday. And that's how you should live your week. If abortion's not ended on Saturday, take a break on Sunday because it's a day of rest. And then wake up Monday and say it's going to be ended this Saturday. That's how you should live your week. The next thing we do, we have to make a plan. We have to make a plan for how we're going to win. And I think that this is very easy because we can start on our college campuses. We can start in our high schools. Do you know there's 930 active Students for Life groups across the country now? That we have 930 groups just like you in every state of the nation. Can you imagine if next year all of our campuses had a plan for how to help every woman facing unplanned crisis pregnancy? If every campus had a plan to make sure that all students knew the truth about abortion, that's where we can start. Make your plans. And that's what today is about. You're going to be hearing from the top pro-life leaders. You're going to be getting ideas. Use those note pages and start making a plan for your year at Students for Life. What can you change on your campus? Make your plan. See the win. Envision the win. The next thing, the final thing you've got to do is you've got to prepare. And that's why you're here today. Preparing is the hard work. Once you believe, once you have your plan of action, then you need to go about doing it. Go to every training you can. Watch every TED Talk that you can. Go to our Students for Life page, our YouTube page, and watch our videos. Figure out who are the experts in your community that you need to reach out to. What campus administrators do you need to basically suck up to this year so they let you put your literature in the campus health center, right? Make your preparations. That's what sets winners apart from losers. We can't simply expect to win. I mean, we're pretty awesome anyway, but we can't expect to win. We have to believe it. We have to plan for it, and we have to prepare for it. You know, this generation, I wholeheartedly believe, this generation, our generation, we have been called to something great. We have been called to abolish abortion. And we have the upper hand. While we might not have the $1 billion that Planned Parenthood does, while we may not be on TV commercials all the time, we actually have the upper hand. We have 43 years of legal abortion in our nation. We have 43 years of a pro-life movement who has fought every single day to advance the culture of life. We have heroes out there who have been working and toiling in this field for 4 decades. We have their wisdom. We have their experience. We have their knowledge to build upon. We have technology on our side. You know, today, Stop Patriarchy came out, and they are protesting our conference. They've threatened to come in, which, by the way, if they come in, we're kind of going to let them, because I want you to see what happens. The police know, but it's not that scary. They just kind of scream and get mad. But in their flyer, when they were advertising, which, by the way, if you're going to protest something, don't advertise it. Don't put it on Facebook. Don't send moles in who have I Stand With PP Facebook pages. It's just not very smart. But in their advertisement for recruiting people to come protest us, the whole 7 of them out there, they said that they were going to educate the Students for Life conference on science. I don't know about you, but I will challenge any of them any day of the week to a debate on science. We have technology on our side. We were the first generation. We were the first generation to see our brothers and sisters in the womb via ultrasound. They have no scientific argument because we know at the moment of conception a unique whole living, unique human being who's never existed before, will never exist again, has been created. We know that. It's very easy. The other great thing about the technology that we have as millennials and that we embrace is that we have social media. You know, in the olden days, power was what your title was, what family you were born into, and how much money you had. That is not the case today. New power is what's your reach? What's your network? Who can you mobilize? Who can you lead? Who can you inspire? We know leadership is nothing but influence. We are the leaders of this movement. We're the generation who can mobilize using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and like 4 others I haven't figured out yet. We can mobilize. We have that new power. That's an advantage that we have. And the final advantage, I would say, is something that a lot of people kind of make fun of us for. As millennials, we kind of get a bad rap. People kind of make fun of millennials and say, oh, we're all entitled. Look, their conference is born to win. They're showing you that they think they're entitled. We are pretty awesome. But what we have that other generations have had in the past, but they've lost, what we have more of is a sense of justice. This generation is justice-driven. I was attending a conference a few months ago for employers, people who hire millennials. And all these people were trying to figure out how to hire good millennials, people our age, and how to keep them in their business. And they were throwing money at these young people and saying, we're going to offer you a more expensive payroll package, and more expensive benefits. And what they were finding was we weren't driven by the money. We wanted to know that where we worked and what we did for a living mattered, and that we are actually improving our world that we live in. We are social justice driven, and men and women, that is a good thing. That is a good thing. You know, in order to end slavery in our country, in order for women to gain our right to vote, in order to end civil rights injustices, every social movement has relied on young people. Not only can we work for free, but we're passionate and we have a sense of justice. And culture is always right there at the tip of the spear. Politics is downstream from culture. And do you know who drives culture? We do. Hollywood looks to the younger generations to determine what is quote-unquote cool, what they're going to market to in their movies. That's why you see a slew of pro-life films. That's why you see musicians now who are coming out pro-life, writing pro-life songs, because we are a pro-life generation. We were born to win, and we can do it. Now, before the great Lila Rose comes up and says her welcome to you all, I have something special we're doing this year at Students for Life. This year is our 10th year of being full-time. I have lots of gray hairs now in the past 10 years. I have a couple of bags underneath my eyes. But it's been an awesome decade for life. An awesome decade of mobilizing this generation. We started out, we thought there were 100 existing pro-life groups on college campuses. Turned out there were about 50. Today, there's over 930 and will be over 1,000 next fall. So, for our Defender of Life Award this year, we've done something different. For our Defender of Life Award this year, our team got together and they picked 10 millennials, 10 people from our generation, who they thought embodied that sense of entrepreneurial spirit, that sense of passion to lead this generation to abolish abortion. So right now, I'd like to show you those winners.
America is proud to present to you the 2016 Defenders of Life, celebrating 10 years of millennial leadership. Christina Barba, The Culture Project. Christina Bennett, National Black Coalition. Josh Brahm, Equal Rights Institute. David Delyden, Center for Medical Progress. Christina Garza, the Vida Initiative. Stephanie Gray, Love Unleashes Life. Kristan Hawkins, Students for Life of America. Kelsey Hazard, Secular Pro-Life. Abby Johnson, And Then There Were None. Lila Rose, Live Action. Please join us in congratulating our 2016 Defenders of Life.